I made the decision to do this at 1 in the morning.
Are ya ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
This is Painty the Pirate. His lips are Stephen Hillenburg, but his voice is Patrick Panay, who also voices Mr. Krabs, but only in the game SpongeBob SquarePants Typing. Continuing to use Hillenburg's mouth on current episodes of this hollow shell of a show could probably be considered a form of necromancy and would be prohibited by the Mages Guild in Cyrodiil.
I can't hear you!
Aye, Captain!
Oh!
This island would be featured numerous times, but there is no surface breaching mountain to be seen from the perspective of the town, and the one time they walk directly up to it, it's more of a hill.
Oh! Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
The hand is named Hans and appears as an actual character numerous times. The hand belongs to Peter Bennett, a background artist, and is voiced by Tom Kenny.
Ah, the sea. So fascinating. So wonderful.
This voice is known as the French narrator. He is also voiced by Tom Kenny and would later appear as a man in a diving suit.
Here we see Bikini Bottom, teeming with life, home of one of my favorite creatures, SpongeBob SquarePants. Yes, of course he lives in a pineapple, you silly.
SpongeBob is such a heavy sleeper that he needs a foghorn to wake him up. Maybe he's just hard of hearing and that's why he frequently misunderstands things. He's shown to have a pet clam here, but I don't recall it ever being mentioned or shown again. What did you do, Gary? Aside from the intro, this is the first time we get a good look at SpongeBob. A common design standard is that sharp points on a character means they are bad, whereas rounded points means they are good, to generalize the basic concept. It's not a rule, obviously, but it can help convey a character's personality. SpongeBob is a square with multiple corners, but is also covered in curves. From this, one could say that he is meant to be off-putting to a degree, but is ultimately harmless. Also, he's voiced by Tom Kenny. SpongeBob wears his shoes to bed like a lunatic, which is consistent with his later claim that they've been tied for as long as he can remember.
Today's the big day, Gary.
He starts his day by jumping off a diving board, which is almost as strange as the fact that his pineapple house has steel walls.
Look at me! I'm naked!
This exercise set is consistent with at least one later episode where he buys fake muscles.
Gotta be in top physical condition for today, Gary.
He talks to his pet like most people do, but Gary is steeling himself for what is coming. The pineapple isn't big enough for both him and the clam. Blood must flow. As much as his body contorts for this scene, his basic frame stays relatively the same, whereas in a modern episode he would have turned into Nyarlathotep, the crawling chaos.
I'm ready!
But is the world ready?
I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready.
Go, SpongeBob!
Following the previous system, Patrick is rounded, but he is much more defined by his pointed features. This would imply that while he is not necessarily evil, he is far more off-putting than SpongeBob, and also more selfish. This tracks because Patrick is consistently shown to be willfully obstinate, selfish, and violent. He's voiced by Bill Fagerbake.
There it is. The finest eating establishment ever established for eating. The Krusty Krab.
The Krusty Krab is designed to look like a lobster trap. No one tell Larry.
Home of the Krabby Patty, with a help wanted sign in the window.
They said the title.
For years I've been dreaming of this moment. I'm gonna go in there, march straight to the manager, look him straight in the eye.
This is an odd fourth wall break. I'm not saying they never do it, but I can't think of another time SpongeBob looked directly at the audience. At least, not so closely.
I lay it on the line and I can't do this!
Same, bro.
Patrick!
Where do you think you're going?
I was just...
No, you're not. You're going to the Krusty Krab and get that job!
I can't, don't you see? I'm not good enough.
Whose first words were, "May I take your order"?
Mine were.
Who made a spatula out of toothpicks and woodchuck?
I did.
It is important to remember that despite my previous claims, Patrick was actually an endearing character who supported his friend. His negative traits were offset by the fact that he's an idiot.
Who's a big yellow cube with holes?
I am!
Who's ready?
I'm ready!
Who's ready?
I'm ready!
Who's ready?
I'm ready! I'm ready! I'm ready! I'm ready!
Most people come to realize with age that they identify with Squidward. He has mostly rounded features indicating he would be friendly, but he's always depressed and negative. But consider, he is a middle-aged man working at a fast food restaurant, and the first time we see him, he is cleaning graffiti off the front door that's calling him a loser. The one respite is that his job allows him time away from his annoying neighbors. Additionally, whenever a line is crossed, he comes to SpongeBob's defense, even though he hates him. He's not a bad guy, he's a stressed-out minimum wage worker who wants some peace and quiet. He's voiced by Roger Bumpus.
I'm ready! I'm ready! I'm
Oh
ready!
no, SpongeBob. What could he possibly want?
Go SpongeBob! Go SpongeBob! Go Self! Ah!
Mr. Krabs! Hurry!
Krabs has a few pointed features, but he is still mostly rounded. In the early seasons, he was actually a big softie. Cheap, sure, but still. At the end of the day, though, he's a penny pincher, and that makes him a bad boss. He is voiced by Clancy Brown.
Mr. Krabs, before it's too late, I gotta tell you about this.
Permission to come aboard, Captain!
I've been training my whole life for the day I could join the Krusty Crew.
And now I'm ready.
That nail shows immediately that Krabs is unwilling to put money into maintaining the building properly, building on how he was shown reveling in his profits a moment ago.
So, when do I start?
Well, lad, it looks like you don't even have your sea legs.
Mr. Krabs, please. I'll prove I'm fry cook material. Ask Squidward, he'll vouch for me.
No.
Squidward and Krabs have an uneasy mutual respect that isn't shown anymore due to episodes focusing on either torturing Squidward or making Krabs into the devil.
Well, lad, we'll give you a test. And if you pass, you'll be on the Krusty Crew. Go out and fetch me hydrodynamic spatula.
This is meant to be nonsensical, akin to asking for an aerodynamic spatula, but water is denser than air, so a hydrodynamic spatula, presumably just one with holes, would be easier to use.
With, port and starboard attachments and, turbo drive. And don't come back till you get one.
It's odd that Krabs gave him a hat when this is just a test. Maybe his soft side is showing because SpongeBob said it's his dream to work there, so he gave him the hat as a consolation prize for when he realizes he can't get the spatula.
Aye, aye, Captain. One hydrodynamic spatula with port and starboard attachments, turbo drive. Coming right up, sir.
Carry on. We'll never see that lubber again.
You're terrible. A hydro what?
Hello, Popeye.
That sounded like hatch doors. Do you smell it?
Here we see a form of PTSD that can only be caused by working in the service industry.
That smell. A kind of smelly smell. A smelly smell that smells smelly. Anchovies.
What?
Anchovies!
Apparently the best bait for anchovies is crab paste. No one tell Mr. Krabs.
Please, what? Is this any way to behave?
Eh,
Can we show a little little decency and form a neat single-file line in front of the register?
Sorry, Squidward, but customers all regress to the age of 5 once they step through that door. I like the way this pirate treasure chest store spells its name. It seems to emphasize the word ARG.
Meeting all your spatula needs.
Hands on Nick! Get your anchors under your pants!
One single bottom line is all I ask!
Whoa! Button down the hatches, Mr. Squidward! We're taking on water, Mr. Squidward!
I always found it endearing that Mr. Krabs calls him Mr. Squidward, even though that's his first name. His last name is Tentacles. Both names are odd, though, because he is neither a squid nor does he have tentacles. An octopus has 8 arms.
I want my mommy, Mr. Squidward!
Spatula.
Why did SpongeBob grab a cart for one item?
This is the end. Goodbye, Mr. Squidward!
Oh, Mr. Krabs!
Did someone order a spatula?
That's right. One hydrodynamic spatula with port and starboard attachments. And let's not forget the turbo drive. Would you believe they only had one in stock? To the kitchen!
Tiny Tim was a treasure, and this is how I know who he is. Sadly, he died before this came out. Who doesn't want a burger that's been smeared over someone's eyes? Apparently the secret ingredient is feet. Remember, these aren't even new shoes for his new job. He has never taken them off. Gross. I miss when SpongeBob would move like this without tearing a hole in the space-time continuum.
That was the finest fast foodsmanship I've ever seen, Mr. Squarepants. Welcome aboard.
But Mr.
Three
Krabs...
cheers for SpongeBob! Hip hip!
All right, Mr.
Hip
Krabs...
hip!
All right,
Hip hip!
all right, Mr. Krabs...
I'll be in my quarters, counting out the booty.
I'm sure that with this much money he'll be able to pay his employees properly, right? Right?
Good morning, Krusty Crew!
What would you like to order, Patrick?
One Krabby Patty, please.
This vindicates Squidward, showing he was right to not want SpongeBob to work there.
Mr. Krabs! Mr. Krabs! Mr. Krabs, come see your new employee!
That's the end. Did I miss something worth talking about? I don't care.